indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Thank you to Council Member Menzo for doing the salute to the flag. Next is oral communication. And I would like to remind that oral communication for agenda items only, which is today, we'll go over to the item which is strategic plan, goal number 1. And that's it. So at this time, I would like to open up for oral communication. So Madam Clerk, can you go ahead and read that into the record?
Thank you, Mayor. This is the time of the meeting that members of the public may address the City Council regarding items on the agenda. Unless otherwise extended by a majority vote of the City Council, comments shall be limited to 3 minutes per speaker. Any person wishing to address the City Council in person should complete a green speaker slip that is provided at the entrance to the Council chambers and submit the card to the City Clerk. When your name is called, please step to the podium at that time, state your name and city of residence for the record.
Thank you very much. I'll go ahead and ask for the first speaker, please.
Our first speaker is Michael Varengia.
Thank you. First of all, I'd like to thank Terry Raines for allowing me to go first instead of having to wait. No disrespect to my brothers and sisters in the law enforcement and fire careers. I don't understand this. And you remember I stood up in front of this council a little ways back and I asked who is behind the phone surveys. I didn't get an answer from anybody. So now we know who was behind the phone surveys. Obviously, it was one or more people on this council. You need to balance your budget or watch your spending or something. Because every time something like this comes up, it's all a threat that's held over their heads that you're going to cut police and fire services if we don't get extra tax money. That's, not only is it distressing, it's disgusting, folks. It really is. Because we have certain members of the public, as long as you wave that flag in front of them, they're going to get paranoid about it. They're going to vote for anything you want because they know what the crime rate is. They know what the homeless problem is. And they're going to be scared that if they don't vote for this, that it's going to get even worse than it already is. I live by Trask and Hoover, and driving westbound on Trask, as soon as you get by the railroad tracks, you can feel your suspension banging around because the road surface is really crappy there. However, they put in the nice bike lanes there. I never see anybody use the bike lanes on Trask. As a matter of fact, they're still riding down the sidewalk. They won't even go in the bike lanes. So you have that situation. We have streets that need repair. And I'm sure there's lots of other things that Public Works would love to do if they had the money for it. What I don't want to see is what happened after Measure Y passed. Right off the bat, you dumped $75,000 for the Tet Parade. How about if we back off the parade and the festival for a year and try to recoup some of the money that is spent on things that are not actually necessary to run this city? And I see I'm running out of time, and it's just a shame that the other 2 council members couldn't take it upon themselves to show up for this meeting. Amy might be out passing out Narcan samples that she posted on Facebook that I'll make sure you get them free of charge. It sounds like she bought a bunch. Thank you, folks.
Thank you.
Our next speaker is Terry Raines.
Lack of planning on your part does not constitute an emergency on our part. Deja vu, August 2022. Once again, this important meeting to consider placing a tax measure on the ballot is being held in the middle of a workday with just 24 hours notice and no Zoom access. We get it. You don't want us to know about it. You don't want us to hear, don't want to hear our input. You don't want us to hear your discussion about it. You just want our money. Direction to conduct the survey was given back in June, so why wasn't it done until mid-November? Council members can't even be bothered to attend meetings. There have been more absences with this council than ever before. Amy and Nam Quan not bothering to show up today after likely stating they would be here, chicken shit, hen. I'm sure the city manager reached out to all the council members to schedule this meeting at a time that they would be available. The public demands a full explanation from her and or the mayor as to why the two chicken shits aren't here today. The vote cannot even happen now because of them. Today's vote is to give us, the residents, our constitutional right to vote on this measure. It is not about them raising taxes. Those two idiots don't give a shit about this city. And I'm sorry, Charlie, but their absence and their antics warrant my profanity. The ROV deadline to submit a measure for the primary ballot is this Friday, December 8th. Why isn't that even mentioned in the staff report? Seriously? The city is trying to put this on the primary ballot using a declared fiscal emergency not even discussed publicly before it was voted on back in June when this year's budget was adopted. That vote was 4-0 with Councilwoman Ho absent. California Constitution Article 13CB states, quote, the election required by this subdivision shall be consolidated with a regularly scheduled general election for members of the governing body of the local government, except in cases of emergency declared by the unanimous vote of the governing body, unquote. The interpretation seems to be of the members present, but I firmly believe the intent was for a consensus of the entire body, all members. But if Councilwoman Ho had been there, she would have likely voted yes, so no biggie as long as the elapsed time since that vote is not in conflict with state law. Why does the staff report use an example of a November ballot with an April 1st effective date instead of a March ballot with a July 1st effective date as proposed here? The survey only had 238 interviews of likely voters compared to 340 last year. 1/3 of those likely voters didn't even remember Measure Y from just a year ago. So you are basing the public's response on just 0.5% of the city's 53,000 registered voters and just 0.26% of the city's 91,000 residents. Seriously? I could have given you a more representative sample from my Westminster Buzz Facebook group. Results show a lot less support for this measure versus last year, like 15 to 20 points difference. I won't waste my time covering the errors and typos in the ordinance, resolution, staff report, and survey because the required 2/3 aren't even here to vote. Same goes for providing my input on the measure's wording, sunset clause, etc. Don't forget the two losers who caused today's shit show. The public sure as the hell won't. Thank you.
Our next speaker is going to be Tim Hogan.
We all know the history. We all know the arguments. We're all aware of our situation. We ask only that we, as citizens, be given an opportunity to weigh in on if we will accept an additional tax. We don't seek a display of false courage from a council, or we don't seek a display of false courage from any council member, any grandstand against perceived injustices, or a bold stance in favor of some indefinite principle. We do not wish for, nor do we desire, some bold adherence to some inflexible ideology that requires blind, foolish opposition to taxation. We ask only that you do your duty. Give the citizens the opportunity to decide for ourselves whether or not we will be taxed. Thank you.
Our next speaker is Kyle Cisak.
Good afternoon, Mayor, council members, city manager, and city staff. Thank you for being here, performing your civic duty. And the Westminster Police Department and the Westminster Police Officers Association appreciates your support. The WPOA has great disappointment with the council members who did not prioritize city business, especially this important matter, and could not be here today. The WPOA, city, and all the residents are affected by this. And the truth is, not attending this meeting today is the first step towards defunding the police, fire, and all of public safety. So thank you, guys. Appreciate it.
Our next speaker is going to be Roland Perez.
Good afternoon, Mayor, council members. The Westminster Police Officers Association knows how important fiscal stability is, and thank you for your attendance today. We know that the two council members that did not show up, we're very disappointed in them not being here today and knowing that they'd rather play politics than with the livelihoods of our public servants that dedicate their careers and lives to the city of Westminster. This should have been a higher priority with them. The Westminster Police Officers Association considers this a defunding of the police and fire departments. I want to thank each of you personally. Mayor, thanks for being here today. Councilmember Mazzo, thank you for being here today. Councilmember Ho, thank you very much for being here today. That's it. Thank you.
Our next speaker is Mike Tucker. Mike? Oh, sorry. Please state your name for the record.
Yeah. Can I start now? Good afternoon, everyone. If you recall, I was here a few months ago, and I did warn the city member, everybody about Nam Quan. He defended my family, my wife, my kid, with his partner.
Can you stop the clock for a minute, please?
I'm sorry.
I just want to remind for those who come in late, today is a special meeting about the financial situation and the agenda on the item on the agenda. So any public comments should direct to that agenda item only. We can't go outside of that that item. We have the policy that we have to follow. So I hope that you understand. If you are talking about the item that we have on the agenda today, you are welcome to continue. But if you are talking something else, I'm afraid that it's not the right time.
I'm going to talk about lawsuit that related to the city.
That can you wait? Can you wait until the regular meeting, which is on December 13th?
So I cannot talk about lawsuit today.
No, you can't.
Yeah, okay, that's fine. That's fine. I respect.
I'm sorry, but
it's okay.
that's the policy.
No problem.
Right.
I respect.
Okay.
So when can come today or next 2 weeks?
On the 13th.
Oh,
yes.
Next meeting.
On the
Next Wednesday.
Yeah, just the file complaint again, Major Nam Quan.
Today is a special meeting for that particular item.
I respect
only.
that. It's okay. All right.
Okay. Our next speaker is Win Hung.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Today I don't have a big issue, but only a request. Number one, I want to restore a 5-minute speaking. Number two, I want to put an agenda. We cannot wait until the end of the meeting. The last time I was here.
Sir, same thing for him. We can, if you are talking about the agenda item today, you are welcome. But otherwise, you have to wait until the 13th regular
December
meeting.
13th?
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you very much. Thanks for understanding.
Bye.
Our last speaker is Khai Dao.
Kaida.
Repeat his name.
May I ask, are you talking about the item today?
Sure.
Yes.
Yeah. So the item we're talking about is, sorry, I was reading on it, but I'm getting old, so I totally forgot.
So what is it that we're talking about here?
On the agenda, you have item 2 here, strategic plan goal number 1, achieve financial stability. Consideration of a resolution and ordinance placing a measure on the March 5th ballot, asking voters if they want to add a half-cent transaction use sales tax. That's the subject matter.
Thank you, sir, very much, Mr. Attorney, City Attorney. So I guess I'm only here, I'm only allowed to speak on the agenda that you set. I wonder, I was gonna actually spend a lot of time to share my thought about it, but what happened to the councilmen here? They're not here. Whom am I speaking to? I want to share my opinion with them. So I'm very disappointed that I was gonna, spend time and effort to come to the city council meeting to voice my concern, to share my thought with you guys. And this is not the first time. And Mr. Attorney, this is exactly, I think, why they're missing. Because they know they're being served, they're being sued, and he knows he's gonna be served.
Again.
So that's why I told you, his doing is interfering with his job on the council. If you want me to speak on the issue, what happened to the councilman? What happened to our vice mayor? I rarely see him on the dais when I speak. What happened? If he served the people, but he rarely sit on the seat to listen to us, to find out what we want. So how he's gonna serve us? And you want me to speak on the issues only? What's the point if he's not here? So, Mr. Attorney, I'd like you to address the issue in the future. Like I said, if the council members doing things that interfering with the city business, meaning that he went on YouTube to defame others and now he's being sued. Now he's hiding from people that's serving him. And he did not dare to come to the city meeting. Is that interfering with the city business, Mr. Mayor? That's my thoughts, sir. Thank you.
Okay, I do have a response for you. I allow you to speak because you comment about these 2 absences. That's fine. But when you bring about the suing, and these, that's a different subject. That's the reason why I want. Okay, that's fine. But please, that's okay. Thank you very much. So.
Dạ vâng, thân ái chào các bạn. Khải đang ở trong Modern Salon của người quen. Ghé lại hôm nay mới có dịp để ghé lên. Đây là ở thành phố Orange, ở trên ngay Freeway 55 hay Freeway 55 với đường Lincoln. Quý vị đi ở dưới Little Sài Gòn, đi 22 East. 22 East là đi về hướng đông, gặp 55 North đi về hướng bắc, 55 North đi về hướng bắc, thì exit đường Lincoln thì quẹo trái xong thì vừa qua đường Tustin thì nó sẽ nằm bên tay trái, là địa chỉ là 1446 Modern Salon, ngay trong khu chợ Vons. Có BFA, Bank of America, đằng sau Denny's và Del Taco. Thì Khải giới thiệu cho bạn bè, các bạn nào ở thành phố gọi là Tustin, Orange, kể cả nếu mà Irvine thì thay vì đi xuống Little Sài Gòn thì đi Freeway 55, thì đi học ở UCI rồi thì có thể ghé lại đây là tiệm Modern Salon, thì để coi kỷ niệm 25 năm thì có những cái đặc biệt là có massage da đầu, có không có phải là kiểu mà thanh nữ ở Việt Nam, nhưng mà là có xoa bóp đầu, rất là relax, rất là thoải mái. Nếu mà mình đi học, đi làm mệt mỏi thì xoa bóp đầu, tức là khi mà gội đầu thì sẽ có thời gian để mà xoa bóp, nắng bóp, massage đầu mình, da đầu, thì nó sẽ rất là thoải mái. Coi như là nếu mà mình đi làm mệt mỏi, đi học hành cũng căng thẳng thì những cái gọi là nắng bóp da đầu như vậy thì nó rất là làm cho người mình nó thoải mái. Thì đây là cái dịch vụ cũng mặc dù ở Việt Nam thì rất nhiều người làm rồi, nhưng mà Việt Nam thì có thêm vấn đề thanh nữ, vấn đề happy ending. Ở đây nó không phải như vậy, nhưng mà chủ yếu là chỉ là massage đầu thôi. Thành ra quý vị nào muốn thử cái dịch vụ mà coi như là xoa bóp đầu đó, khi mà thay vì gội đầu thì sẽ nhân viên thợ uốn tóc họ sẽ massage mình luôn trong cái thời gian mà gội đầu. Thì cái phần đó là phần massage đầu, thì đó là một cái dịch vụ cũng mới bắt đầu. Thì đây là kỷ niệm 25 năm thì đang còn có những cái dịch vụ mới là họ đang có sẽ có cái dịch vụ này. Rồi Khải cũng đi vòng vòng rồi, chút nữa Khải coi, tại vì tiệm cũng đang có khách bận. Khải coi rồi Khải sẽ coi như là để coi, Khải đi vô tí xíu để xem, coi quý vị xem tiệm. Đây là có dịch vụ hớt tóc. Đây là cũng có để thờ thần tài, cũng có cắm nhang đàng hoàng và cũng đang có khách. Và đây là những cái ghế để uống. Và đây là có cái phòng để mà coi như là tổng quốc massage, và coi như là tổng quốc để gội đầu và massage luôn. Nếu mà quý vị nào mà muốn cần cái dịch vụ tổng quốc thì bữa nào Khải sẽ ghé lại để Khải gội đầu dưỡng sinh hả? Nếu về chị có thể giới thiệu con đi.
Em có nhiều packet để gội đầu dưỡng sinh.
Dạ.
Có 4 cái packet. Dùng đá, rồi scalp massage, rồi arm, chân.
Rồi đây là mình có massage toàn thân luôn không, hay là chỉ có gội đầu với massage
gội
đầu?
Massage từ facial từ tay, làm tóc luôn. Tóc. Nói chung là mọi thứ về da.
Về da nữa.
Dạ. Làm facial, rồi scalp massage, rồi tay, rồi chân, mấy cái face gel mask, rồi anh thấu này nè, juice stone, rồi colon, cái đầy đủ.
Cái này là về làm về massage đầu,
gội đầu dưỡng sinh đó.
Gội đầu dưỡng sinh, tức là không có phải là cái vấn đề mà thanh nữ đồ này kia mà bậy bạ, mà là để relax, đúng không? Để dưỡng sinh, là cho người mình nó tinh thần nó thoải mái.
Gội đầu dưỡng sinh cũng relax đó, cho đầu óc đó, rồi làm tay, rồi làm chân, nếu nó chọn
rồi đang có cái package, đang có những cái giá gì đặc biệt không?
Nếu như mà người nào first tới á, mà lần đầu tiên tới tiệm em á, thì em bớt cho 20%.
Rồi
20% trong cái package mà mình
rồi, tức là nếu mà lần đầu đến thì mình sẽ bớt 20%.
Bớt 20% cho trong những cái package nào mình muốn chọn.
Rồi cái này là nếu mà người nào người ta không lại tiệm được thì mình có người đến, nhân viên đến nhà luôn không? Hay là
không, chỉ làm ngoài tiệm thôi.
Làm ngoài tiệm thôi. Dạ.
Chỉ này làm tiệm thôi, không có đến nhà.
Rồi cái này nếu mà có những cái dịch vụ mà mình mua hồi xưa anh có những cái chỗ mà họ bán giống như cái
hả?
Dạ. Hả? Cái nguyên cái thẻ làm nhiều lần là gì
dạ,
đó? Có luôn.
Nếu mua thì sẽ có.
Dạ. Rồi đây em thấy là mình làm móng tay móng chân nhưng mà có sấy, uống ép sấy rồi nhuộm hết không?
Có đầy đủ. Tóc đồ đầy
đủ. Cho đàn ông luôn, anh thấy khách đàn ông cũng nhiều.
Gọi đầu diễn sinh đàn ông đàn bà đều được hết. Tất cả đều được hết. Chứ không phải riêng cho đàn bà. Đàn ông đàn bà đều được hết á.
Tiệm này mình làm ở đây bao lâu rồi ạ?
25 năm rồi.
25 năm ở đây rồi.
Cái này phần này mình mới áp thêm thôi.
Còn cái đây là dịch vụ mới.
Dịch vụ này mới có.
Mà cái này là mình cũng phải là có cái kỹ thuật đồ riêng biệt, có khóa huấn luyện đàng hoàng chứ không phải là. Dạ. Rồi, thank you chị Linh. Dạ. Dạ vâng, đây là cũng co-owner chị Linh, Lina Nguyễn, và Tím thì đang còn cái này là cắt tóc cho Nam. Dạ vâng, Khải không có tiền quay mặt của khách, thành ra mình chỉ quay sơ sơ vậy thôi. Còn tóc tai mình cũng đang rất là bù xù, bữa nào thì mình sẽ ghé lại để mình